bad. Could be the speed bump on the way to the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship. And the top starters set by this year's owner points. That's why Jeff Gordon on the pole for today. Meanwhile, people still talking about the race, the dramatic finish at Martinsville last weekend. That's where Hendrick teammates Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson finished first and second for the 6th time. Jimmy's won the last 3 showdowns, and these two, they make a great team, especially when it comes to that game, capture the flag.
I'm not going to wreck a guy to win a race.
He wants me to move him, so boss, you better give me the okay, because, you know, that's always going to happen.
Well, I wanted to be on the bottom, and if you wanted the outside, there's plenty of room up.
14 to go, buddy. Go get that 48. Don't worry about that 5. If he's going to run me like that, he's giving me no choice. Get that win. Woo! What a race. All right, guys. Sorry. That was my hero. I just beat there. Might have him off, but I don't care. I've dreamed of beating that dude here on this track in a heads-up battle. Awesome, awesome job, boys. Awesome job.
All right, some compelling conversation joined trackside by both Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson together as they get ready for the race. I want you both to answer this question, but Jeff, we're going to let you go first this time. There was talk of disharmony after that finish in Martinsville. Is that accurate? Is everything cool?
No, not at all. You know what? When the heat of the moment is on, there aren't 2 more fierce competitors out there than me and Jimmy. And, you know, the fact that I didn't wreck him showed, you know, the respect that I have for him and for, you know, our teammates out there. And so, you know, I know that Jimmy's going to race me hard. He didn't do anything wrong. He ran that race perfectly, and we didn't have the car to do it. I was more upset that we didn't win the race because I felt like we've had several cars capable of winning this year, and I was just mad that we didn't win. I wasn't mad at Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy J, it's DW. What was it like coming down there at the end of the race, racing your hero? I mean, I know what that felt like back in the day. What were you thinking?
I was thinking it was Jeff Gordon behind me, and I needed to bring my A game, and was able to do that. It really was a great event for Hendrick Motorsports, and fun for Jeff and I to race that hard. And I think what you saw in those highlights there was just a competitive spirit in both of us, and you know, just good hard racing, good clean racing, which is very important in today's world where everybody wants to see crashes.
Hey guys, I want to know about today. I mean, you both come in here. You know, Jeff, you're leading the points. Jimmy, you're getting right back up there with him, and you got a great finishing record here. But neither one of you guys have gotten to victory lane. Can you change that today and keep that 5 in a row, you know, going for Hendrick?
Well, I certainly hope so. I thought Jimmy was really strong yesterday, and we had the best car we've had here in a while. We've certainly got the track position. You know, we've had cars capable of winning here in the past. It just hasn't been recently. So I'm hoping we can turn that around. And I feel like, you know, when the 24 team came along at Hendrick Motorsports, it elevated everything up. When the 48 team came along, it elevated up to a whole nother level. And to be able to have teammates like Jimmy and Kyle and Casey to be able to share notes with, you know, I think this is the best year we've ever had of winning a race here in Texas.
Jimmy, can you do something with him, buddy? Can you get to victory lane?
I feel like we've got a great car. We had a great practice yesterday on the 1.5-mile tracks. We've been very strong. Today the sun came out, which I think is going to help Jeff and I out with driving this racetrack. We'll find an outside lane and have some fun today. So I really think this Los Monte Carlo is in great shape.
Jimmy, I know you and Jeff both do a lot with charity. We showed a couple of weeks ago your bowling tournament raised a lot of money. And Jeff, is it true that somebody has a chance now to win a Corvette from you?
It is. You know, we're going to raffle off a brand new, well, fairly brand new, a couple thousand miles on it right now, Chevy Corvette Z06. That was my own personal.
Jeff, turn around real quick. There's some annoying fan behind you.
Imagine that. That's a big surprise. I'm sure that won't be the last of that today either.
That's right. All right. Thank you, all 3 of you, even. Good to have you teammates out there running. Good luck to both of you.
Hey, go to jeffgordon.com or jeffgordonfoundation.org for more information on the Corvette.
Okay, appreciate that. Thanks, Jimmy.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, good luck on the Corvette. Tony Stewart doesn't get the
Cars together.
You got to have that. You really do. Because, again,
and the great unknown here today is the weather. It's
almost wide open, over 200 miles an hour getting in the corner, and Jeff Hammond nailed it a while ago.
We start by points. Gordon, Burton, 1-2 in the Nextel Cup standings. They share the front row.
DW, 500 miles, 200 miles an hour off into the corner. It's going to be slick. Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time.
Just got to think real quick. The last time we started by points here in 1997, if I remember correctly, we didn't make the first turn. A lot of us didn't.
And Jeff Burton, who starts on the outside pole, ended up winning. Huge crowd on hand, and here's the moment they've been waiting for.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys!
our points leader, Jeff Gordon. He'll get those 5
Trouble
points.
already off turn 4.
J.J. Yaley.
Along left front of his car, so those two cars seem to be okay.
So caution at lap 1.
And
Dave Reagan.
Rudd is back out there, and he was up to speed as he caught up with the back of the field.
Green flag.
Looks like Jeff Gordon's teammate, that 48 car, Jimmy Johnson, he wants the lead of this race. He could not run a fast lap yesterday in practice, but his car was so good on long runs.
You know, Larry, you say that, and I looked up statistically, and that 48 car's only led 3 laps here.
Yeah, Hendrick only actually has 1 win here with Terry Labonte back in like 1998.
So he'd probably like to lead more than 3 laps, unless, of course, the last 3.
Down to 168 miles an hour, middle of the corner. And now accelerating down the backstretch to near 200.
Watch this right here. Throttle going off in the corner. I mean, he was not off of it a second. Picked it right back up well before the center of the corner.
Well, last couple of weeks we've been running about 90 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, and that's almost pit road speed here. Blaney, and when he did, it just got a little loose with him.
Jimmy Johnson has a run coming off turn 2. Caught Jeff Gordon right in the middle of the corner and follows his tire tracks to 3. How about the race leader, Steve?
Well, Mike, as was pointed out in the pre-race show, Jeff Gordon has never won here at the Texas Motor Speedway in 12 tries. I talked to his crew chief, Steve Letarte, this morning, and Steve said if you take an aerial view of this racetrack, none of the 4 turns are the same, and it's taken a long time for Jeff Gordon, even though he has a good finishing average, to get comfortable here. It seems like they compromise one end or one corner for the other, and they're trying to make him comfortable in all 4 turns here today.
Well, and that's true, Darrell, of all these multi-car teams that run similar setups and share information.
But, Darrell, you're right about looking at last year.
Trying to close in as Jeff Gordon has led every one of the 16 laps we've run so far in Texas. Jeff Gordon has stretched it out on his Hendrick Motorsports teammate Jimmy Johnson as you watch from the DLP HD TV cam on board Tony Raines. Here's a look at Gordon, and here is the amount of his lead, which continues to grow.
And you know, he was not happy at all with his car yesterday in practice. Our guys and girls in the garage area were reporting on that car. It was loose, it was pushing, it was doing everything but what it should do. What'll be interesting is if this car ever gets back in traffic. That's going to be a telltale sign of how good of a car he's got. He's been in clean air the entire race so far.
Yeah, that's been a problem they've had with that car sometimes. Is it's good out front, but not so good back in traffic. But I got to tell you, we watched the scoring monitor yesterday. We said, boy, Jeff Gordon's in trouble. But that's where having information from the past and having a good notebook and anticipating what this track's going to be like today makes all the difference in the world.
Gordon has led every one of the 24 laps so far.
You know how I know that 24 car is really good? Because he smokes the tires every now and then. Oh. That means that baby is down.
Here, let's see if we have a little bit of that smoke you talked of off of Jeff Gordon's car.
And this is one of the things that I kind of watched the old 24 car. The reason being is because that's the coil bind setup. And Jeff wasn't comfortable with this car. Watch this thing. It'll just fall down on the right front. You see that little smoke coming out of there? That thing is just rolling over, falling down on that right front. The right front's rubbing up in the fender, and that takes some getting used to. That's a driver thing where that thing falls over all at once. You say, oh, I'm wrecking. But it isn't. It's just taking a set, and you got to adjust your driving style. That's why they had a lot of trouble on the 1.5 miles until he was able to adjust to this.
And that coil bind setup is where the front springs are very soft. When the car goes down in the corner, it just sits on those front springs and just stays down there, keeps that nose down in the racetrack.
And it really shows on the watch. Stewart's lap times 29.5 seconds, while Jeff Gordon goes around here in 28.9. 0.6 of a second difference. That's a lot.
That's huge.
The corner, it just kills that entire straightaway speed.
Jeff Gordon, your leader, Jeff Burton, Jimmy Johnson, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. just rocketed past Denny Hamlin, used a lap car as a pick, and moved up into 4th place.
I'm sitting in a hot rod today.
Sized here north of Fort Worth. Jeff Gordon's still your leader, but look, he's got company. Jeff Burton is now right on his bumper as Gordon negotiates heavy traffic. While we were away, Bobby Labonte made an unscheduled stop for overheating, and Kenny Wallace came to pit road, put the hood up, and they have pushed his Furniture Row racing machine to the garage.
Doesn't surprise me that a lot of guys
Did 1.5 mile racetracks last year.
And Sterling had just gotten lapped. He gets the lucky dog, and I talked to him this morning. He said, DW, we changed everything on the car but the steering wheel.
But everybody will be to pit road, 4 tires and adjustments.
So let's head there to Dick Berggren.
And Matt Kenseth started this race in the 4th position, Mike, dropped back to the 7th spot. The problem is the car has got a good bit of a push.
This car needed more help in the forward bite area. So did Burton. Just a slight air pressure adjustment for the 31, Steve.
Matt, adjustments for Dale Earnhardt Jr. as he exits pit road, and Jeff Gordon. Gordon said his car had gone from tight in the middle to tight off.
We went in as we worked the second caution flag of the day. Jeff Gordon has led 47 of those, all except for the 2 led by...
Well, he's talking about bonus points. Jeff Gordon's got 30 bonus points already this year. He and Matt Kenseth got the most. They both have 30. So pretty darn important.
Let's get an update on Kenseth. Dick Berggren.
Watching him, remember he started back in the 12th position. He's up into the 4th. And the biggest thing, he had moved all the way to the top of the racetrack at both ends.
Take a look at the scoreboard here. They do a lot of neat different things in Texas. They not only tell you how many laps have been completed in the race, they also tell you how many laps to go.
I like it.
Texas is the home of Texas Instruments that provides us with our DLP HDTV Ultimate Picture Cam, suspended on cables above the speedway, and that's how you see this restart.
You know, with that information, that's what a driver wants to know. You never ask how many laps have we run.
Consistent week to week. What is consistent is Jeff Burton. That car has been strong all day, and he is just gnawing away at the rear bumper of Jeff Gordon for the lead.
Under caution, Jeff Burton told his team that it was just starting to get exciting when the caution came out. He says the car balance-wise had really shifted. Even though they were about 10 laps shy when they would have pitted, his team told him, your tires look good, because they did show some wear on that outside shoulder of the right front during practice.
Thanks, Matt. You're watching on the right, Denny Hamlin looking back at Carl Edwards and Tony Stewart. That is 9th place on back.
Just watching Jeff Burton there in the 31 car behind Jeff Gordon in the 24. Remember, Jeff Burton comes in here second in the points. So what he would love to do is get up there. We've been talking about these bonus points. He'd love to get 5 points for leading a lap in this race if he can get to Jeff Gordon. In fact, right now, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 1st, 2nd, 3rd in the Nextel Cup points chase.
The front 4. Jeff Gordon's lead now 1 second over Jeff Burton. Gordon has stretched it out a bit again.
Gordon's car, I like the way his car is running because he starts off pretty fast, and he actually seems like he gets faster as he goes into a run.
There's the gap. 1, 2, 3. Jimmy Johnson in 3rd, and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
The vibration has gotten worse on the 11 car for Denny Hamlin.
Hamlin came in here 7th in Nextel Cup points.
4 tires and fuel.
Heard Mike Ford, his crew chief, tell him we're going to go ahead and change 4 tires. The anticipation that possibly a wheel out of balance, something of that nature right there. Now what they need this race to stay green to cycle through some green flag pit stops.
That might be the problem, but it sounded funny to me. And that is one of the new Chevrolet engines, so I'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, all of the Joe Gibbs teams, Tony Stewart, J.J. Yaley, who's basically out of the race.
Look at Jeff Gordon's lead. With teammate Jimmy Johnson now second by 2.4 seconds. Dale Earnhardt Jr. another second back. Here's your leader. 72 laps complete in the Samsung 500 at Texas Motor Speedway. 2:62 to go. Jeff Gordon pretty firmly in command.
Jeff Gordon has dominated, leading all but 2 laps in this race. This is the most laps he's ever led in a Texas race. And as we come back to Jeff Gordon, the points leader coming in, but he's yet to win a race this year. And Jeff, this is one of 3 tracks, Miami and Phoenix, where he's never won. And Steve Burns reported earlier about how he was uncomfortable at this racetrack.
Uncomfortable is not a really a way to put it. He doesn't like this racetrack. Steve Letarte told me this morning that they actually came here with a race car that he had won in before, had led a lot of laps at Las Vegas in, so they could try to eliminate the excuses. That was another reason why they came with the engine of the day rather than the R07 engine that Chevrolet had available, because they wanted to try to keep things as simple as possible, and they were working on a setup that they hoped would make Jeff happy. And right now, it looked like they hit the right setup. The momentum that they have carried all year long is really starting to kind of click for these guys. And he told me today, Steve Letarte right there on the right, if they could come out here with a top 10 finish, they'd feel like they'd won the race.
All right, and of course the dad-to-be in July, his wife Ingrid, pregnant with a baby girl.
He's going to be okay, and I tell you why. Jeff Gordon has slowed down quite a bit the last several laps. His lap times have really taken a dive. A lot of it because he's lapping a lot of good race cars right now, or a lot of race cars, and he has really lost about 2 or 3 tenths a lap here over the last 5 laps.
You know, I want to follow up on something that Chris Myers just mentioned about Jeff Gordon. He mentioned that Phoenix, Homestead, and Texas are the only tracks on the circuit that Jeff has not won. Jeff has actually won at Phoenix and Homestead in a Busch Series race, but he has not won anything at Texas Motor Speedway.
Yet.
On this radio, you guys hear me? Yeah, we got you. I can tell you, nobody's been hearing me in that other radio. I'll switch over. Tell me where Jimmy's running, because I'm getting real tight.
And I think that
He's running the same line you are, identical.
Wow, he has slowed down, but it also sounds like he was having some radio problems. The good news is, like a lot of systems in the car, they have a backup radio that the driver can flip to.
Let's get to one of the other Hendrick cars, Kyle Busch.
Crew is up to full, Sean, with Russ Strupp, the veteran track man, back today after knee surgery.
All right,
Steve.
Mark, go ahead, Steve.
Jeff Gordon on pit road in the 24. You heard him say a few moments ago that his car had been tight. Specifically, his car is tight from the center of the corner off. Matt to the 48.
Jimmy Johnson says his car just a tick to the tight side, although balance-wise it wasn't bad. He just had to put some wheel into it, needing a little more grip. Let's go back up pit road to Steve Burns.
Matt, they've made an air pressure adjustment, some tires for Jeff Gordon, also made a slight wedge adjustment. He's off pit road.
Jamie McMurray has made a stop. Sterling Marlin. That will complete the cycle and put Jeff Gordon back into the lead over Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Burton, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Kurt Busch, Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth. And I believe this may put Denny Hamlin back on the lead lap, since he's out of cycle with the rest of the leaders
now,
on stops.
The 24 and the 48 came out of the pits together. As a matter of fact, I think the 48 actually gained a little time on him in the pits on Jeff Gordon. But when I watch him go around the racetrack now, there's almost 2 seconds difference between Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson. You see them exit pit road right there, almost together. But boy, there's Jeff going in the middle of 3 and 4, and where is Jimmy? Way back here, just now in the middle of 3 and 4. Somewhere along the way, Jimmy lost a lot of time.
This is now going to put Hamlin nearly 2 laps down, having made the stop. Here comes Gordon up to lap him for a second time. Perhaps with the fresh tires, Hamlin will be able to stay out in front of the race leader. We'll find out when we come back. Saturday night prime time in the desert in Phoenix. Jeff Gordon continues to lead. We stay green, but Ryan Newman slapped the wall coming off turn 2 and has come to pit road.
Right rear is down. That's what's wrong with him.
Krista?
Yeah, a flat tire for the 12, and this is coming after more bad luck. On the earlier stop, they had a broken jack problem. Now a flat tire. They also have a tire rolling out of the pit box. Not sure if that's going to be a problem or not.
Also, while we were away, Paul Menard brushed the wall coming off turn 4, but continued without incident.
Remember, Ryan Newman was involved in that wreck back on lap 1. That's the reason it has all that Barabond and that tape on the nose. They've been back out there running.
So the caution erases Jeff Gordon's 4-second lead over Jimmy Johnson, and 9 seconds ahead of Jeff Burton.
I lied about my
Dale
age.
Jr., Kurt Busch, the top 5, and the free pass will go to Brian Vickers, who was the first car one lap down. Steve?
And listening to Jeff Gordon right now talk on his radio, he said his car is really good, just a little bit tight, which is an improvement when he was saying it was real tight earlier. He's got a good race car. They'll make a small air pressure adjustment. Matt?
Pit road is open for the lead lap cars, and Jeff Gordon brings them down.
And we've got about all 17 cars on the lead lap on pit road. It's been about 20 laps since they were last there under green. See the 48 car there? That's where Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson are so good. It was what we talked about at the top of the show, anticipating what this racetrack is going to do and the changes they need.
Jeff Gordon leads them off pit road. Johnson second. Dale Jr. and Jeff Burton.
215 laps to go. It's Jeff Gordon ahead of Jimmy Johnson right now. Hendrick Motorsports, that race team, going for its 5th straight. Hasn't been done since the 70s. And when we last left you 2 weeks ago, Martinsville, the closing laps, remember? It was Jimmy leading Jeff and Gordon doing all he could to get ahead of Johnson. But in the end, Jimmy didn't let up. His teammate, Jeff Gordon, owns part of that car. And it was Jimmy coming in first. How will today be, Jeff Hammond? They trade the information. You heard Jeff Gordon earlier talking about it.
Yeah, he was calling crew chief Steve Letarte early on, trying to find out where Jimmy was running to see what his car was doing when his 24 car went off a little bit tight as we get ready to go back green.
Chevy, Mike, has the top 4 spots.
Thanks, Chris. Getting set for the restart. Jimmy Gordon. Yeah, him too. And Jeff Johnson. All right.
What is it? That
ice
cream bar next door got you all messed up?
Yeah, no, I think it's time for Shut Us Up. How about let our Emmy-nominated audio crew, led by Freddie Aldis, crank it up for us on this restart. Away at the front of the pack, and now Jeff Burton also breaks free of race traffic.
I'll tell you one thing, there's some guys back in there that are really leaning on each other. Golly gee, they've made a little contact. So far so good.
I think one reason they're leaning on each other is a lot like that 19 car up there you see just in front of Jimmy Johnson, Elliott Sadler. He's the first car lap down. We almost have as many cars a lap down as we do lead lap cars. Those guys fighting to stay up there.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon is so good, and when he gets out front, he just checks out on these guys.
Second place.
The car, that's a chassis tuning device. Here it is, and it worked. Biffle said the car is much better now.
Brian Vickers got the free pass on that brief debris caution. We've completed 129 laps in the Samsung 500 on Fox. Jeff Gordon continues to be one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. He leads Dale Earnhardt Jr. by 1.5 seconds.
And what he was referring to shortly before that, Jeff Gordon had been to, as he referred to it, Wrigley Stadium and tried to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game, and it just wasn't exactly the perfect rendition of it.
Well, Jeff said he wasn't used to the sound coming back a second or two later in the reverb from the speakers, and got a little off time. And
that's what I'd have said too.
Yeah.
And the sun was in his eyes, right?
I've had stuff like that happen to me. Stuff will reverb back to you in like 3 or 4 days later.
Jeff Gordon, our leader, has led 133 laps. And believe it or not, guys, that equals the same number of laps he's led in all previous 12 other Texas races. I mean, it's incredible the dominance of this race car today and the way Steve Letarte and his entire group have been able to get this car set up for these conditions and adjust during the course of the race, not to mention be really good on pit road.
Yeah, Jeff, if he leads about 30 to 35 more laps, he will go ahead and sew up the additional 5 bonus points for leading the most laps.
Got a little trouble brewing behind him,
Just 0.7 of a second behind. Steve?
Yeah, Mike, Jeff Gordon saying his car is just a little bit free in turn 4, a little tight in 1 and 2. And I talked to his crew chief, Steve Letarte, this morning, and they've been talking about, Larry Mack referred to the team saying it's the car of overtime between preparing new cars, testing, and getting this car ready. He says it's been a brutal stretch, but their optimism has remained very good. And he said in the month of May, it's even worse. He said he has a calendar, and he marks a yellow mark if they're testing, racing, or in the wind tunnel. He said right now, there's only 2 days that aren't marked yellow in the month of May.
Well, think about it, Mike. We started the year off with a restrictor plate car on a 2.5-mile track. The next week, we were in California on a 2-mile track with a current car. Then we went to...
Now let's have a look at how Dale Earnhardt Jr. caught Jeff Gordon. With Fox 3D, we can show you the line that Gordon is running. That's that yellow stripe behind his car, and compare it with where Dale Earnhardt Jr. is on the racetrack. At this moment, pretty different.
That's where Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been running turn 3 and 4 almost since the drop of the green flag. He loves that high line.
Woo! Woo, baby.
Whoa.
He does love that high line, but boy, she got a little loose coming up off turn 4 that time. And we see Junior's car do this. When Junior's having a problem with his car, here's what it does. When he's not happy with his car, or when his car is not handled like he wants it to, it seems like right on corner exit, she gets a little squirrely with him.
Now he's going to try the bottom in turn 3. Gordon way up high. Will Junior get the lead? 200,000 folks on their feet think he will.
I was going to say, everybody here is standing waving red hats or towels or something.
Well, Jeff Gordon's spotter is saying Junior's running high in 3 and 4. So Gordon moves up to run high in 3 and 4. And what does Junior do? He goes where he's not.
You know, this has definitely been a racetrack that Dale Earnhardt Jr. has always ran well at. He got his very first career win here in 2000. One of the few victory lane celebrations his dad got to enjoy with him.
I'll never forget, I rode out of here that day on the helicopter with Dale Sr., and he was talking about how Junior and them had run the same setup in his Cup car that he'd been running in his Busch car. And Dale was adamant about it just can't work. That setup can't work in a Cup car. Great big sway bar, soft front springs. No way that's going to happen.
But it did. Now you see at the top of your screen Jeff Gordon's telemetry, at the bottom Dale Jr.'s. Now they do run the same rear end gear, so the RPM at the same point on the track would be similar if the cars are running the same speed.
Well, the biggest thing that will dictate a different RPM or miles per hour, who gets back to the gas the soonest in the corner and who can stay in it. That last time coming off turn 4, you could hear Dale Earnhardt Jr. because his car is not gripping good on the late exit. He had to roll out of the throttle.
Miles apart on entry, but look how close they are on exit. And that's all because Junior can get back in the gas and hang that tail out again, bud.
Did it again off turn 4. About every other lap right now.
Well, it's probably a good time for our next singular virtual crew chief question, which is about Jeff Gordon. As Larry pointed out, this is the only track on which Gordon won a race of any kind. Will Jeff Gordon win today? Yes or no, A or B? Text the message crew to 191 from your AT&T or Singular wireless phone, or go to foxsports.com, keyword singular.
You know, as I watched Jeff Gordon in the 8 car, I heard Steve Burns report a while ago about anticipating and keeping up with changes. And to me, that's something that Tony Eury Jr. and Dale Earnhardt Jr., they've had missing for a long time, is they've never done a good job of keeping up with the right changes. Looks like they may be gaining on it, at least for today.
There's the gap, first to second, with 151 laps complete in Texas.
Now looks like he may join Mike Bliss, Kenny Wallace, and J.J. Yaley, the 3.
Gordon Jeff Gordon and Jimmy
On entry and just a little free on exit. He's away. Steve?
Jeff Gordon complaining about his car getting really tight as Dale Earnhardt Jr. went past him. At the bottom of your screen, you see Dale Earnhardt Jr. coming to the attention of his team. Tony told Tony Eury Jr., his crew chief, that his car had gone from neutral.
As the fuel burned off, it started to tighten up. The car wasn't too bad near the end of that run.
Man, I thought Gordon was going to run over Dale Jr. there. Jr. just come out of the pits. Wasn't quite up to speed, and boy, Jeff really ran up on him hard. And right behind these two guys at this time is Jimmy Johnson. He did a much better job on pit out that time. Didn't let Gordon and then get so far away from him.
Getting up to speed a lot quicker.
Right.
Our Fox 3D showed that on the last pit stop, Jeff Gordon was much quicker through the gears and accelerating up to speed.
Watch it. I'll tell you, good thing, Junior. I think the spotter must have said, give him some room, go up, go up. Because Jeff Gordon was headed for a collision.
The 24 car had pitted about 2 laps earlier than the 8 car, but right now, this is we've cycled through the green flag stop, so Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 8 car, he is back in the lead of this race. Everyone has been to pit road.
Pole sitter Jeff Gordon went 146 laps, more than all of his previous 12 races combined at Texas, leading 52 straight in this race.
Jeff Gordon dominates for a while. It's going to be in victory circle.
And Larry, how do you get around to deciding what does that car want next?
Well,
because that'll be the decision that wins the race.
Yes, it will. I mean, what you've done, you have gathered data through this entire race. And you go back to that notebook like Darrell was talking about earlier, and what you're going to continue to do is get information from that driver. What was it like the first 10 or 15 laps of a run? What was it like late in a run? And that'll help you make the decisions.
You always know when you're at one of Bruton Smith's tracks. We're not worthy. They just sent over a big plate of shrimp cocktail, and here come the Dove bars. Folks in the pits, we'll send some along. It'll be a little bit.
This is a rare thing for us, though.
Yes. Trouble on Matt Kenseth.
Him, Reed Sorensen in that 41 car. That's a battle for position. Speaking of battle for position, Jimmy Johnson in the 48 has caught his teammate Jeff Gordon in the 24. They're about 3/4 of a second behind leader Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about on the 24 car. He's been losing time after every pit stop. He was running in the 30, 80s, and 90s. Last time out, he was running in the 31 flats. Now he's running 31-20. They're not keeping up with the racetrack.
Dave Blaney moves up and out of the way of the lead lap cars. Steve?
And Mike, we've been talking about those adjustments. The problem for Jeff Gordon, he's been staying tight for most of the race, but now he's loose getting in the corners.
That's what happens. When you're tight off, you keep taking wedge out, making changes to help the tight off. All of a sudden, the thing is spinning out, getting in the corner.
40% of you said Jeff Gordon would get his first Texas win today. Of course, we did pose the question before Dale Jr. took the lead away.
And Mike, something else. This racetrack very well in the last $50,000 to $75,000
to the Urban Youth Racing School, All-State official insurance sponsor of NASCAR. Are you in good hands? Jeff Gordon has his hands full. Jimmy Johnson has been all over him lap after lap and cannot get by.
They just put Brian Vickers is in the mix. He just went a lap down. But I think he's just reminding his old teammates that, you know, we used to be teammates.
Of course, Brian Vickers trying to stay the very first car 1 lap down. If we do get a caution here with 137 laps to go, he would be back on the lead lap. He actually got the free pass a little earlier in the race.
You know, he and Doug have done a great job. Once they get in the race, their car is usually pretty competitive. Doug Ricker.
Side by side for second. Johnson may prevail. Nope, Gordon gets a good run up off the corner, and they're dead even. Middle of the backstretch once again.
Jimmy will get him here, though.
This picks up right about where it left off at Martinsville. Positions reversed. Jimmy's good in the middle, and Jeff is good coming off the corner.
And one reason Jeff Gordon, the 24 car, is so good coming off the corner, he's running that high line. He can keep the engine wound up there, the RPM up.
Yeah, they'll swap. You take the bottom, I'll take the top.
Jeff Burton Martin behind them by about 3/4 of a second, and then Kurt Busch, the highest running Dodge in the race. His number 2 is 5th. Let's go to his pit.
Earlier in the race, you heard Kurt Busch say he's a base.
He has just sent to the crew the information that the engine is skipping, and before that he said he thought it was starting to get ready to blow up.
We talked about that at the top of the show. This place is very, very hard on engines, and we just had talked about a car that was running in the top 10, Reed Sorensen in the 41 car. I'm sure we'll find out what exactly his problem was, but he has taken his car to the garage here. He came down pit road, never hesitated. We are hearing that it was an engine failure on the 41 car.
And we're averaging almost 150 miles an hour in this race, and we haven't had very many cautions, and that just keeps those engines wound up that much longer.
We do need to make note that Sterling Marlin in the 14 car, Kyle Petty in the 45, David Reagan in the 6, they are back out on the racetrack now after having problems earlier.
Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson fight for second. I wonder if that's a little bit of back at you after 2 weeks ago at Martinsville. We'll explore that in a bit.
Well, Chris, there's no doubt when you look at cars like Juan Pablo Montoya, Carl Edwards, Tony Raines, they were just about to get lapped by Dale Earnhardt Jr. So, Darrell, you got to believe that. I think Jeff Gordon was ready for 1-2. We got the report. He felt like his front tires had completely gone away on that 24.
Oh, yeah. He was falling back quite a bit there just before that caution came out.
Jimmy Johnson to give me more of what you gave me last time. It really improved the race car. And that was a wedge and a track bar adjustment. Great stop by
Jeff Gordon said, as you mentioned, Larry Mack, my front tires are gone, guys. Do something to get it back the way it was before.
And, Steve, I think they paid the price as far as the battle off pit road, but I'm sure maybe they took a little extra time to make those right adjustments.
Casey Kane may have just brushed the wall coming off 4.
Something happened right in there. I don't know if it's he or the 66 car. Something happened.
Last year's winner here, Kane, slow at the back of the pack, may have bumped the wall coming off 4. Oh, he should be sore.
He should be. That was an incredible hard lick on the right side of the car.
But, Darrell, what we're seeing with that 24 car right behind Kurt Busch in the 2, Jeff Gordon in the 24, is he seems to be able to really go hard on fresh tires. He drove right by Jeff Burton a while ago. Let's just see if that car stays under him on the end of this run.
Track bar and air pressure, he just needs a little more side bite. Matt.
chassis adjustment already completed for Jeff Burton. He says the car is just really too tight down in turns 1 and 2. It's not aero.
Jeff Gordon in the 24 saying, I was good for a couple of laps on that run, but now it's way too tight. They raised the track bar on the 24 of Jeff Gordon.
I tell you, Tony Stewart, Larry, is just not having a very good day, and most of his trouble is off turn 4. Hit the wall.
Jeff Gordon has led the most laps, 146.
And to get the free pass, and Hamlin is back on the lead lap.
Took him almost 200 laps.
Riding with Jeff Burton around Elliott Sadler.
Man, Sadler's blocking the track.
And David Gilliland there, he's back in the 20th position, 2 laps down, had that tire problem earlier, brought a caution out.
Kurt Busch's car owner Roger Penske's had some success here with the Indy Racing League cars, and Kurt's car. Mark Martin is 3rd after a 2-race layoff, which means a 3-week vacation counting the Easter break. Mark is back and feeling racing.
He is, and I guarantee he's saving just a little bit too. He's not showing you everything he's got right now.
He is 3 seconds behind Kurt Busch.
Mark takes it to the edge. He just doesn't go over.
When you're racing ex-teammates, as we pointed out, Darrell, all the first 3 were teammates at Roush. Do you have a better idea of what to expect when you're battling somebody who used to be racing with you instead of against you?
I think it's like a football player maybe going to an expect. So it makes it a little bit easier.
Biggest problem Mark Martin has right now, no longer going to be a problem. Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. This pass happened on the front straightaway, but it started all the way over in turn 2. Gordon got a good run down the back straightaway, completed the pass as he came off 4 onto the front straightaway, moves Mark Martin back to the 4th position.
Kurt Busch, the leader, is the quickest car on the racetrack lap after lap here. Jeff Gordon right now is second fastest. He's in third place.
And those two tires, I know Jeff's complained about his car. They say he's not happy with it, but those two tires are paying dividends right now because he is nibbling away at Kurt Busch right now. He's about 2/10 quicker every lap. We're pretty much shot, I'd say.
So the pits will be open, and this could be the final stop of the day. Well, here's good news. Kurt Busch gets the free pass. He's back on the lead lap. Here's Dick Berggren.
And I'm in Matt Kenseth's pit, and this is a big one. This is also one of the very best pit stops in all of big league racing. They are not going to mess with the chassis, but they are going to try to fix his windshield. There it goes. Matt had been complaining that he simply couldn't see. To Matt.
And this is the money stop for both the 31 and 42 teams. Burton really didn't know exactly how far to go on adjustments because it took 2 tires the last stop. 4-tire change this stop for both the 31 and 42, Steve.
Jeff Gordon will get 4 tires this time, Matt. They took 2 on the last stop. Gordon also said to Steve Letarte, check the deck lid. I did hit the wall. Krista.
Absolute heart.
Out of shape when you're going to restart in 14th place, so that's a good news for him.
How about that race off pit road? Jeff Gordon, by sitting on the pole, by virtue of the field being set by points, he got that pit selection. That's what won him the battle off pit road.
Been pretty good out there all day long, matter of fact.
Welcome back to Texas. We'll get you ready for the restart with this Napa race summary. 38 laps to go. Jeff Gordon, who has led the most laps today, out in front as we get set for the restart. The only driver in the top 5 who has not won at Texas is our race leader, Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, and I really don't see, unless Mark's been saving a whole lot, I don't see anybody having a whole lot for Jeff Gordon, to tell you the truth. He's had the best car all day, other than that period of time when Dale Jr. was better than him.
12 races, 12 different faces in victory lane. Our DLP Ultimate Picture Cam gives you the restart. We're back under green.
Kenseth in that 17 car knows if he wants to get up there and race with Jeff Gordon, he needs to get it done early. He just drives by Mark Martin in the 01 car.
And here comes Jeff Burton trying.
Here in the garage area. How big a heartbreak is this?
It's not that big. We had a great race car. I'm proud of my team. All the guys at the shop should be really, really proud of the car that they brought to the racetrack. The motor was fantastic. I might have beat on the motor a little bit on the restarts. I spun the tires in second gear, so I would turn a little bit more RPMs in third, trying to maximize what I could get there. But normally when you tear a car up and spin around stuff, you can roll the motor backwards and do some damage there, and that's probably what happened. But everybody should be really happy.
Done. He gets our next getting it done call of the race.
Well, you know, I think that you got to give it to, you were going to say the 2 car, right? I don't know. I'm kind of like Mark Martin. I like the job he's done today.
And that, like you said, that crew, yeah, I did almost.
Did Jeff Gordon get in the wall again?
Well, let's see. Oh, yeah.
Rick Biffle just did.
Well, the whole right side of the 24 car is scraped up big time.
Boy, turn 4 has been busy today.
Cars just won't turn off that corner. Late in the race, slick.
Steve?
Yeah, I want to add to what DW said. It was like all of a sudden, Darrell, he said, I don't know what happened. I just got big time tight. Next thing I knew, I was in the wall.
What little I've driven here through the years, that's what this joint does. Got the wheels turned, you're coming off the corner, everything's fine. Lose all the grip all at once.